like I tell everybody, man, I always love Tip, man. Tip,
Yeah.
one of my favorite rappers.
Do you still listen to him?
I say I don't.
Do you listen to the classics?
I mean, the classic. I love the classics. It just ain't the same as the old days. You know what I'm saying? But
of course, my heart and prayers go out to the family. You know, he's a true A-Town, West Side veteran, bankhead legend. We're gonna continue to push on for him. You know, I'm just happy that we were able to, you know, go past our differences and mature to the point where, you know, we can have a laugh about it later on in life. And, you know, that's what it's all about. You know, you can have discrepancies and differences with people. But, you know, after analyzing the circumstances and really saying that, man, it ain't really that deep.
T.I. gave it up the day my friend Shawty Lo passed. And, you know, you got to give him credit for that. You know, it was the right thing to do. You know, he said, damn, I just woke up to some bullshit news. R.I.P. to a true West Side Atlanta legend. You represented Bankhead to the fullest. My heart goes out to his family and his children as well. Even though through our toughest times, I must admit, I was impressed and kind of proud of how well you repped our hood and how much you cared for it. It was a real relief to have someone else helping to lift Bankhead up and hold it there. Can't say enough about how much you meant to the city. Glad we matured behind our trivial personal differences in time enough to have a laugh about it as neighbors. For those of us who knew and were around in the mix in the late 90s, we know Legend of Low started way before music release. We salute you, G. Rest easy. You'll truly be missed. R.I.P. Shawty Lo. So, you know, at least we got T.I. to eventually give it up to Low. You know, he never gave it up to him before, but, you know, he gave it up to him now. Unfortunately, Low didn't get that while he was alive, but, you know, salute T.I. and his wife also posted something up, you know, salute them. Even though I have things on my channel, you know, Shawty Lo wasn't shy, okay? He voiced his opinion, and he truly felt a certain way about the subject of T.I. As I put in the beginning of the clip, he was a T.I. fan. He was just saying T.I. is not from Bowen Homes and Bankhead area. That's all. He just doesn't know where T.I. is from. Besides that, and they had their little discrepancies, and it got kind of out of hand, but it never got too out of hand. Nobody got hurt or anything, really. So, thank God, you know. But, you know, Lowe was a man of his principles, and you got to respect that. He never let up on that. He said, "Yeah, I like T.I., he's cool, but I don't know where he's from." He always, he didn't close his mouth. You know, he always voiced his opinion. You got to respect that. That's why I have to leave these things up, because I'm not going to disrespect Shawty Lo's. I'm not going to disrespect him by not letting him the clips out where he speaks his mind. Trust me, even if T.I. gave it up, he would still say these things if he knew T.I. gave it up. And you got to respect that, and you got to respect the memory of Shawty Lo.
You guys are cool now? You guys squashed the beef a few years ago, or it's just it's whatever now? It's just whatever?
back in the day, you know, I'm one of the bigger TF fans, man. You know, like, cause coming from outside of town, we ain't really had nobody rapping outside of town. But you know, our rapper Kilo, he's from my projects, you know, Bowen's Home and all that. So when Kilo started rapping,
and T.I. lived in Bowen Homes, right?
No,
he didn't.
No, T.I.
Okay.
T.I.
But he lived in that area of Atlanta.
No, he did. He had a grandmother. They say stayed up in the houses up, probably about a couple of miles up the street.
Yeah.
But you know, we really had nobody besides, you know, let's say Outkast, you know, Good 'Em Up, all of this really rapping. But T.I. was a rapper who came, like, was rapping, saying stuff about Bankhead and all that. So that's how people from, you know, like Bankhead take it to him, you know what I'm saying, and start liking him, you know. Yeah. So, you know, I was no rapper, period. You know, I deal with the big drug dealer, you know, from that side of town, you know.
So back then you were just in the streets.
I just in the streets, period. I wasn't even thinking about rapping, period.
Right.
So around, like, you know, like, before I even know who T.I. was, period.
Yeah.
I was the biggest drug dealer, let's say, Bones. So people came to me and said, they need to use my cars for a new rapper video up in the trailer park.
What year was this?
2001. But they said the Beanie Man was gonna be in this video, whatever. So, so I said I agreed. I brought the cars up there, you know. Yeah. Even though I'm in the video.
How many cars you had around that time?
I had a lot of cars around the time, but it was my Denelli and one of my sports cars I brought up. To let them put in the video, and we didn't even know who T.I. was at the time. Yeah. But a couple of months later, one of the girls I knew said, I seen you on T.I. video. This, I'm like, T.I., who the hell is T.I.?
Yeah.
And I seen it. I was like, oh, okay. But it was real quick.
So you brought your cars out because you thought you were the Beanie Man.
Yeah, Beanie Man. Yeah, that's
yeah.
So, you know,
this is
we
his first album.
we were smoking with Beanie Man doing
for
all
real?
that. Yeah.
Oh, that's
So next thing you know, he made the song we heard, "Dope Boys in the Trap."
Yeah.
And we're like, what he say in that song? He said, 36 keys in the grill, love the broom. Dropping 33 to my folks and going home, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, and that would really probably bought me all the way in, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, we came to love T.I., you know.
Right? Like, T.I.'s doing his thing, you're doing your thing.
Yeah.
You guys live near each other.
Oh, yeah.
Ain't nothing.
He my neighbor, man. We in walking distance.
I heard a track with you and Young Thug just a few years ago where you said something, you live next door? What was that?
It was called Next Door, yeah.
Yeah. That was funny.
Yeah, but when I moved out there, I didn't even know he stayed out there. It was crazy.
So you looked at the house and then you figured out later that he lived up the street.
Yeah, I ain't forgot about probably like 3 weeks.
Are you ever pulling out and you see him like? Hey,
oh yeah, we done bumped probably about since the
How funny is that?
The 5 years I've been out there, probably 3 times. We done bumped into each other when I was doing my reality show. We done bumped into each other at the lake. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I always see the family, though, you know what I'm saying? You know, Tiny and the kids and all of them, you know. But, you know.
Make sure it's still recording. Yeah. How funny is that? It's like full circle. Like, you guys had some beef with each other in Atlanta, never really run into each other, and then all of a sudden you just happen to buy a house.
In the neighborhood.
In the neighborhood.
That's crazy.
I mean, literally, guys, these guys live like 5 houses from each other.
4.
I've been over there. 4 houses, yeah. 4.
Yeah.
And so, you know, these guys still don't technically get along. They're not friends. They're not going out to have like lunch together.
Yeah, same people clean their pool, clean my pool.
Yeah. How weird is that? You're pulling out, and the guy you had a problem with all these years lives right fucking next door.
Man, it really ain't no problem
What up,
with me,
neighbor?
man. You know, I don't know when people scared this. You know, like I tell everybody, man, I always love Tip, man. Tip, one of my favorite rappers.
Do you still listen?
Man.